Welcome to the 3PL Summit. Today, we are joined by Juan Meisel, CEO and founder of Grip. Welcome to the summit, Juan.
Good to see you, Mary. Always a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to get into things today. Obviously, I'm very familiar with Grip. You guys focus heavily on cold chain side of things, which is the other area that I cover here. But before we get too far into it and kind of share the wealth with everyone else, let's get some background on you and how you started Grip.
Yeah, absolutely. So part of the super early team at ButcherBox about a decade ago, and helped scale that company to more than $500 million in revenue on a yearly basis. And what we're doing at Grip now, it's essentially everything I wish I had while doing that, while operating that company, and making my dreams come true as an operator. And we're essentially now providing fulfillment, technology, and logistics services specifically for companies that ship frozen and refrigerated items in the mail. So, think all those amazing online brands that you buy from, that just a box shows up to your doorstep, it's frozen and refrigerated. That's what we do. We empower that. So I've been in business for about 3 years, essentially since I stepped down at ButcherBox, and we now have 5 facilities across the country. We have Jersey, Florida, Texas, Michigan, California. We get to more than 75% of the US population in 24 hours. And I'm very happy with the progress of the company. We're the best in the game. We're the best at it. I say from personal experience, I've been in the industry for about a decade now, and I've yet to see before us something like what we built this far, and we're just getting started at it with all the technology that we have nowadays.
I absolutely love that. Also the humble flex that you guys are the best, because honestly, in the temperature controlled space, you are, if I may be so bold as to say. But I really like that. One of the things you've always said is that, especially when it comes to, temperature sensitive goods, is that it's not necessarily about getting something there. It's that the quality matters. So chances are, if you mess up something with a temperature sensitive delivery or fulfillment, like, you're more than likely ruining an experience. Whereas if a sweatshirt comes late, but if a birthday cake comes late or out of temperature or something like that, you've kind of ruined that experience. And that's something that I think, honestly, non-temperature sensitive goods can take into consideration as well, because those direct to consumer stuff, there is that experience attached to it. But it's just even more prevalent in the temperature sensitive space as well.
Yeah, it's the stakes with every single shipment is it's just much higher. The waste that you can bring to the world, not even just by acquiring customers and then losing them by not providing a good experience, but actual product waste, food waste, transportation waste. If you don't do this correctly, it's so high that it can actually kill companies. So that's where we play in. That's where we come. It's sensitive products, is high value experiences for the customers, and that's what we like. That's where we like to operate. And it's very different because there's so many more variables that go into it than when you're shipping a pair of shoes or a t-shirt in the mail. That you really, really need to know the variables and understand the problem to be able to figure out a solution, which is why I think our background and coming from ButcherBox, myself and our CTO, Jimmy Cooper as well, who used to be head of data at ButcherBox, that's where I think our background has played a key role in building this company.
And the emphasis that you guys have placed on that data portion of it, I think, is really what has made you guys the best, because you guys have those metrics in place that you use to track and measure kind of efficiency. And I mean, even something as silly as like a weather alert, notifying customers ahead of time, like, you guys are just so on top of things. But when it comes to, measuring your own success and measuring that, you are still delivering for your customers, for your clients, what metrics do you look at or do you focus on to make sure that, you are still meeting those efficiency goals and you're also still, growing as a company?
So I'll split this into 2 different sections. One of them is something that we track internally is the speed and accuracy of decision making. And we use so many variables, so much data to either operate the company internally or to decide how we're sending our customers boxes, that we measure ourselves by the speed of, how fast do we do that and how accurate that can be. And that's, even when deciding to launch a new project, when deciding to build a new piece of technology, when deciding to open a new facility, when deciding to open with a new final mile fulfillment carrier, or change a liner, or how much ice you add to the box, like all that, the speed of decision making and the speed at what you can try things, and then the accuracy is extremely important, and we measure ourselves by it. AI has definitely helped a lot in the space, in that specifically, because it allows you to bring a lot more variables into the equation, a lot more data into the equation, that just a legacy algorithm, or the human brain mind can just it just cannot make the decisions with that many variables as fast. So as on operating the company, then on a specific shipment, it's exactly how you were saying it. We use so many major weather events data. We use so much in terms of the temperature of where the box is going to go through. We've essentially reverse engineered all the terminals and facility footprints for the carriers, so we know how are they performing, and based on that, we decide where we send the box to. Essentially based on real time data from their networks. And then we use things like the final customer's perspective on how the box is arriving to then close that loop and decide how to send them the next box as well. And then we use a combination of refrigerant, dry ice, gel packs, depending on, as I was saying, the temperatures, but then as well, how's the actual box performing in real life. And as you were just saying, I'll give you a couple of examples. Like snow falling in Houston, in the last few days. How many plowing trucks are there in Houston? Like maybe close to zero. So when that happens in that specific city, it creates a massive issue with logistics and on-time delivery for the final mile carriers. Versus, in Boston, I lived in Boston for almost a decade, and 4 inches would just be a daily occurrence. Like no problem, it's just everyone back to work. So that's where just the more data, the more informed decisions, the more variables you can bring into the equation, the faster and the more accuracy decisions you can make.
And I love that, excuse me, I love that you guys bring that data into the discussion, because it's more than just, oh, we have all this great data, we can make all these choices, we can make all these analysis, we can show our customer that we're saving so much money, et cetera, et cetera. But you guys even take it a step further, that you're like, okay, well, we know that this is going to get interrupted. Like you said, if there's a snowstorm in Houston, which I'm pretty sure their snow plan is just hope for the sun, they can say like, okay, well, we know we're going to get caught in Houston, so let's either hold it a day or route it a separate way, so that way it doesn't get affected by the storm. And ideally, the customer would never know the difference. But I really like the fact that you guys even take that final delivery into account, where you say, okay, well, how did the box arrive? Did it arrive looking like it should? Or did the box arrive, with 2 pieces of duct tape on it, hope together with a hope and a prayer, or cobbled together with a hope and a prayer? Because we've all gotten those boxes as consumers. We've all gotten those boxes that you're like, oh, will my stuff be intact on the inside? Because I don't think so. I don't think so.
And there's so many variables going on at the same time. At the same time that there's a snowstorm in Houston, then there's a fire in Los Angeles that, of course, has been super devastating for the city. And you also need to plan for that. And going back to what we were saying earlier, we were sending a T-shirt, you'll send it, and let's say you're using, FedEx, UPS, or some other carrier, like they're just going to hold the package at their facility and then deliver it whenever they can. But with a product like, the ones that we're shipping, which is groceries, meat, specialty products, pet food, pharma, so many different products that are sensitive to time and temperature, you just cannot do that, because that's where your bottom line gets hurt.
Yeah. And that's something that is the extra challenge that comes with the temperature sensitive space, that you guys have just voluntarily said, yeah, we'll take on these extra challenges. It's fine.
It's definitely my life has been stressful over the last decade. But we enjoy it. This is what we love. I mean, we love just playing with the variables. We love seeing the performance of our customers, helping them out. And the closer we work with them, the more they can focus on what should matter for them, which is building a beautiful brand, building an impactful brand, sourcing the best ingredients for the products, building the best point of sale system, providing that front end experience for the customer. Like that's what really build brand equity for our customers, not necessarily, getting deep into the actual facility and shipping the box out. That's what we do.
Yeah, and you guys really kind of say you're the experts at what you do. You can say you continue making the best products possible. We'll take over the logistics part of it because most shippers, as we all know, most shippers don't necessarily have the ability or the care to create an entire logistics department to suddenly become experts in logistics and supply chain and fulfillment in getting things where they need it to be. They just want to say, here, please get my product to where it needs to go. Because again, if you're the best muffin maker in the world, you need to be focusing on making muffins. You don't need to be focusing on, which carrier is arriving on time and which carrier is meeting those metrics that you have in place. So I think that just taking back that focus of saying, as a logistics service provider, as an intermediary, your job is to just take all that worry off of the shipper and just say, like, we got you. Don't worry about it. Just keep making beautiful, delicious muffins.
Yeah, I mean, if as a direct to consumer brand, you're having to focus on the logistics, the operations, the fulfillment side of it, that's just a shortcoming of the industry. And that's what we identified some years ago, and that's what we set out to solve with technology and putting a great team together for it. Of course, you still have to understand it, and you still have to make decisions as a brand in terms of who you work with, and understand your P&L pretty well, so to see what other initiatives you can do. But it shouldn't be your area of expertise. You should just work with someone who that's just the full focus.
And I really like that you say that, like, you need to look for those partners and find one that really kind of matches what you need. We have a few minutes left, and before we leave, I have to pick your brain. What is your biggest piece of advice for those that are just starting to implement these data-driven solutions or kind of lean into the power that AI has to help make these decisions?
I would say identify a specific problem and start small by solving that step by step. It can get very overwhelming, specifically with the amount of technology that's out there. But speak with someone who's done it before. Speak with someone who might be using technology for a different industry, for a different product, or even people from the industry. People in logistics and operations love helping other companies in the industry. So pick someone's brain to see what use cases they're using it for, and how much did it cost, and how do they implement it, and then choose a specific problem and start small.
I love it. That's very manageable, just start small. You don't have to make these huge sweeping organizational changes overnight. Just start with something small and manageable and achievable. And then that kind of builds up confidence that you then can use to make those big organizational changes slowly over time through small changes.
Yep, absolutely. Agreed.
So other than that, where can everybody find you outside of the summit if they have questions on, if they have questions on kind of getting into the data decision insights or anything that has to do with implementing AI?
Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think it's the best route. Juan Meisel is our shop out there, or gripshipping.com is our website. Super happy to chat with anyone about it and help them out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, and stay tuned for the rest of the summit. We've got some amazing content coming your way.